This is probably the king of glass pads at the moment. It's the Kazemi from Glsswrks, and I've been enjoying this pad a lot. Honestly, in my opinion, this does beat the wallhack SP004 by a little bit, and I'll be making slight comparisons between the two. This pad ran me $109 and I got it in the blue color version, so let's get into the design first. The Kazemi has an anime style graphic to it. The girl here looks pretty badass, I won't lie, and the colors match super well. I really like this design and the detail is amazing. The blue throughout the pad isn't super in your face, it's present in specific areas and it adds a kick to the image. Out of all the anime themed pads I own, I definitely prefer this one any day. Next is the build. The pad is extremely well made and it feels super nice to hold on to. Out of all the glass pads I have, this definitely feels the most expensive at least and much more like an art piece. I will say though, with glass pads they have a longer lifespan compared to cloth pads where the texture or surface will eventually change from general use or external factors. On the contrary, your skates are more likely to wear down rather than a glass pad, but you do need to be more careful when using it as any impact on the pad can lead to light cracks, so there's a trade-off I guess. Onto the surface, the Kazemi is described as a balance glide, but it feels more like a fast pad with a smooth texture. It's not as fast as a SP004 with a similar amount of low static friction, but it just has a slower glide overall. The speed is still plenty for games that require quick tracking or directional changes and are great for those effortless micro adjustments. The surface has a buttery smooth texture which gives a very comfortable experience when resting my arm onto the pad. It's not as sticky as some smoother pads like the Super Glide, and the entire thing feels very polished and well made. The SP004 has light texture but feels less premium compared to the Kazemi, and it's kind of weird to say that because it is a slab of glass, but apparently companies have gotten super good at making them because the quality on this is noticeably better. Combining this texture plus the fast speed gives you a pretty seamless result. Although the cold touch of the glass is obvious, it does somewhat feel like you're not using a mouse pad, and this could be a good or a bad thing depending on your preferences, because you do lose out on the feedback your arm gets when you swipe or move across the pad. For me personally, I really love a smoother feel and I love faster glide, so this is almost perfect. The surface is also very dot skate friendly. Any glass pad that has some sort of texture like the SP004 just doesn't work that well with the standard PTFE dots. The X-ray pad jades I have on my Beast X Mini feels really weird. It's kind of hard to describe it, but it's similar to feeling bumps on the pad when there's actually no bumps. Now where this pad does lose out on some points is the moisture resistant feature that prevents your arm from sticking onto the surface as much. I did go into this with a certain level of expectation, so this might have also influenced my judgment, but this isn't as good as I thought it was. It's not sticky, which is nice, but when you do sweat, you can definitely feel the tug on your arm before you perform a movement. Is it much less than the other glass pads? Yes, but it's not perfect. Having your arm stick to the glass is quite annoying sometimes. The base of the pad is really good. It's got a silicone material that provides a full coverage of the base and it sticks to my table completely. Even when I place a lot of force onto the pad, it still won't budge. The silicone is also spread very thinly, so it makes the pad feel even thinner. The Arco glass pad I tried before is 3mm thin compared to the Kazemi, which is at 3.5. However, because the Arco uses 4 silicone corner pads that were thick, the pad ended up being taller than the Kazemi, so Glsswrks have done a really good job here. So that's the Glsswrks Kazemi. In my opinion, this pad is better than the SP004, and at times it's hard to recommend glass pads because they're also good nowadays that you can just get one and be done. However, in this case, I actually would recommend people to get it even though it's expensive because the pad just feels a cut above the rest and more of a complete package. Unfortunately, they're not available anymore, but if Glsswrks plan another release, I would definitely keep my eyes out for that.